Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at my must-draft 2022 fantasy football tight ends. Inside of today's video, I'll be going in-depth into 5 different tight ends who I believe you guys should be looking to target and draft in all of your 2022 fantasy football, as well as your best ball drafts. But before we can get on into this tight end breakdown, I would like to ask that if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help us out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at Notorious FNTSY. So without further ado, let's get into my top 5 must draft tight ends for the 2022 fantasy football as well as best ball season. So we will begin with Darren Waller, tight end of the Las Vegas Raiders. Underdog ADP for Darren Waller right now is tight end number 4. So in 2021, Darren Waller was a tight end that I was beating the drum for aggressively, meaning I was trying to create a hype train for Darren Waller. I was very excited for Darren Waller, and I personally believed that Darren Waller could be the best, the number 1 tight end in all of fantasy football, and I thought that when we looked back in drafts, we were going to be shocked that we would have been able to get Darren Waller potentially in the 3rd round of some drafts because he should have went in the 1st round. And while that statement, what I was talking about, definitely wasn't true, Darren Waller did have a pretty solid season when he was healthy. In 2021, he played in 11 games for the Raiders, finishing as the tight end number 18.5 PPR and the tight end number 6.5 PPR points per game, tied with TJ Hawkinson. He had 93 targets on the season, 8.5 per game, number 8 at the tight end position. He had 55 receptions, 5.0 per game, 15th at the tight end position, 665 receiving yards, 60.5 per game, 11th at tight end, and 2 total touchdowns, number 35 at the tight end position. Now, something that is very hard to predict from a year-in, year-out basis is going to be the touchdown number for wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks. It's hard to predict for basically every single position, aside from a couple of players you just know are a lock to get like 10 plus touchdowns. One player off the top of my head that I talked about in yesterday's video, Mike Evans. That man's just going to score a million fucking touchdowns every single year like clockwork. But then there's going to be other players where it could be hit or miss in the touchdown department. But in my opinion, if we are looking to try to project Darren Waller's touchdown numbers in 2022, to me, I believe that it is a mortal lock of the century that this man is going to get over 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns seems like the low for what Darren Waller could get. I believe he could be close to scoring 10 touchdowns in 2022. Now, the team is definitely different in Las Vegas this year in 2022 compared to 2021, as they recently traded for, maybe not even recent at this point, but kind of recent if you think about it. They traded for Davante Adams. They went ahead and got him from the Green Bay Packers, and that greatly impacts this offense. And to some people, they are going to be making the argument that now that Davante Adams is going to be there, who is a touchdown fucking machine. We saw it in Green Bay. This man is scoring touchdowns left and right. And that is going to, in some people's minds, take away from Darren Waller. And then there's going to be people on the other side of the argument that more side with me that think now that Davante Adams is there is going to be a lot more opportunity for this team to move the ball up the field and score touchdowns. Sure, Davante Adams is probably going to score a million touchdowns on this team, but that does not mean that Darren Waller is going to be exiled, that he is going to be cut out from the equation of scoring touchdowns, right? Darren Waller could still score 8, 9, 10 touchdowns in 2022, and I really do believe that Davante Adams coming to the Las Vegas Raiders is going to help this offense out so much that it is going to help out Darren Waller. It is going to be very difficult if you are the defense to figure out how to stop Darren Waller, Davante Adams, and Hunter Renfrow. Some people may say, oh, Nick, Hunter Renfrow isn't really all that great, blah, blah, blah. To me, Hunter Renfrow, not a top 12 receiver in the NFL, but he does have excellent route running abilities, and he's not just some wide receiver that the defense doesn't have to worry about. So when you have these 3 key pieces in the offense, Darren Waller, Davante Adams, and Hunter Renfrow, it is going to be very difficult for defenses to stop all 3 of them, and that is why I personally believe that Darren Waller will have a much better season. And the reason why in all of these videos, in every single video I post, I talk about half PPR finish as well as half PPR points per game finish, finish. And the reason why I kind of bang heavily into discussing the half PPR points per game finish at the end of the season is because when there are players like Darren Waller who play in 11 games and they finish at tight end number 18, that may give you the wrong narrative on how things actually went. Because when you see tight end number 18, in your head, you're probably thinking, wow, people are drafting this guy as like the tight end 2-3 in my fantasy league, and he finishes tight end number 18. He sucked complete and utter donkey balls that season, right? He was terrible. But in reality, when he was healthy, when he was in the game, he was a top 6 tight end in fantasy football, and I think if he's able to play 15, 16, 17 games, like a normal amount of games for a tight end, a normal amount of games for a guy like Darren Waller, he's not some tight end that is injury prone, then you should be very confident in Darren Waller in 2022. I think Derek Carr is going to play a lot better with Davante Adams out there. I think the whole team's going to play great. I think Darren Waller is going to have a fantastic season in 2022, and I would be very excited to get him as the number 4 tight end off the board in my redraft draft or on my underdog best ball drafts. But before we could go ahead and break down our next tight end, I'd like to give you guys a word from our friends and our sponsor, Underdog. They are also on your screen right now, and they've been on your screen the whole video. Our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, is known for their NFL best ball tournaments. However, Underdog doesn't stop there. Underdog has plenty of other contests for you to compete in, including live draft contests and pick'ems, in which you can make 20 times your entry fee. Use promo code Awesemo. Again, promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $100. Get started on Underdog Fantasy today. There's also going to be a link in the video description to them. So the next tight end to discuss in today's video that I am really excited for in 2022 is going to be Dallas GOEDERT, however you want to pronounce his name. I get so many comments last season in the prior, like the lead up to the season when I'm talking about the drafts during the regular season. People like, Nick, you say this guy's name wrong. Some videos you say GOEDERT, other videos you say GOEDERT. And off the top of my head, I don't even know how to say this guy's name, so I'm not trying to belittle this guy, right? I like him a lot. He's a must-draft tight end. I just might say his name wrong, so I apologize, Mr. GOEDERT. Of the Philadelphia Eagles, underdog ADP tight end number 7. In 2021, he played in 15 games, finishing as the tight end number 10 in half PPR and the tight end number 9 in half PPR points per game. He had 76 targets on the season, 5.1 per game, 17th at the tight end position, 56 receptions, 3.7 per game, 14th at tight end, 830 receiving yards, 55.3 per game, 5th at tight end, and 4 total touchdowns, 12th at the tight end position. Now, last year going into fantasy football drafts, GOEDERT was not a guy that I was overwhelmingly excited about because Zach Ertz was still on the team. And while Zach Ertz was still an injury-prone tight end at that point, that was kind of the narrative surrounding him. Right now, it seems like no one's even talking about that. But back then, the narrative was Zach Ertz is injury-prone, so if he was to get hurt, you should be all aboard choo-choo, the Dallas train. But when Zach Ertz is healthy, you can't fully buy into his upside. And I understood that. That was kind of the way I was looking at things. Then we see 6 weeks of Zach Ertz, and then he gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals. And right then, a flip switched in my mind, and I told everyone to fucking go run to the waiver wire like your name was Usain Bolt, and go ahead and pick up GOEDERT, because this guy is now in the prime position. He is in the driver's seat on the team. He was. And Jalen Hurts loves to throw the ball to the tight end position. I understand that some may make the argument that, Nick, if they go ahead and draft a wide receiver, I think that might hurt Dallas because that will mean that now Jalen Hurts actually has someone else to throw to besides Devontae Smith. Because if you look at this wide receiver core for the Eagles, it's basically just a bunch of busts. These guys, Jalen Reagor, they don't really have too many options there besides Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. So that makes him be in a very solid position in this offense. Now, there's also going to be other people who do not believe in Jalen Hurts and will use that slander against Goedert and say that he cannot be a top 5 tight end, a top 3 tight end, because of the fact that Hurts is the quarterback, and to them, Hurts is not an NFL quarterback. He's great at running the ball. He's great in fucking fantasy football, but he's not great in real life. And I'm not going to disagree with that, right? I don't think Jalen Hurts is ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think he's some schlub, some bum, to where we should really be putting all this negativity towards his name. Now, in 2023, is it locked in that Jalen Hurts is going to be the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles? In my opinion, no. I don't think we are even close to that. I think the Eagles could easily, in 2023, draft another quarterback. But guess what? Who gives a flying fuck about what happens in 2023? We're in 2022. This isn't a dynasty video. This is a redraft. This is a best ball video. We're looking just at 2022. And in my opinion, with how much Jalen Hurts loves to throw the ball to the tight end, you should be extremely high on Dallas Goedert in 2022, and I think that tight end 7 is definitely low for him. Next up, we move to Dawson Knox one time. If you are with me, tight end of the Buffalo Bills, underdog ADP tight end number 9, and no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. In 2021, Mr. Knox played in 15 games, finishing as the tight end number 8 in half PPR and the tight end number 8 in half PPR points per game. He had 71 targets, 4.7 per game, ranking 20th, 49 receptions, 3.3 per game, ranking 18th, 587 receiving yards, 39.1 per game, ranking 15th, and 9 total touchdowns, number 2 at the tight end position. So Dawson Knox had a very surprising 2021 campaign. Now, if you've been playing fantasy football for a little bit of time, it's not like Dawson Knox is some ancient dinosaur tight end who's been in the league for a while, but you probably knew the name of Dawson Knox. You've seen him out there for the Buffalo Bills, but you never really saw him do what he did last year. To me, it seemed like Josh Allen, before 2021, wasn't a tight end guy. He wasn't feeding the ball aggressively to the tight end in the red zone either. Like, it just didn't seem like Dawson Knox was in the best position. While he had a great quarterback, while he was on the Buffalo Bills, which going into 2021, everyone expected to be an excellent team, a playoff team, a team that could potentially win the Super Bowl. And while they were all of that, that was all correct. They were an excellent team. Dawson Knox just came out of nowhere, out of thin air, because he didn't really do anything before 2021. And that shouldn't be a knock on him. I'm just saying that no one really expected Dawson Knox. I didn't really see too many videos, too many articles, too many people, basically anywhere that talk about fantasy football, being the commander of the Dawson Knox hype train, the hype circle. There just was nothing there for that. But in 2022, I think that should definitely be the case. Now, some people are going to talk about how OJ Howard is now a Buffalo Bill, and now it's time to shit your pants on Dawson Knox, right? It's time to sell if you're in a dynasty league. Again, this isn't a dynasty video, but maybe we need to retract on our thoughts on Dawson Knox because now they have OJ Howard. And while I would prefer if OJ Howard wasn't there, right, because I know OJ Howard is going to creep up and score a couple touchdowns. That's just inevitable. That's what OJ Howard does. But that doesn't take Dawson Knox and throw his value out of the window, right? That doesn't take Dawson Knox and completely plummet every ounce of value that he garnered from having a great 2021 campaign. Now, the question is, would I be higher on Dawson Knox if OJ Howard wasn't there? And the answer is yes, but not a resounding yes, right? I'm not shifting the rankings a whole bunch because Howard is there. We know what Howard is. We saw his one great season. We've seen him perform. Gronk gets hurt. You see a little bit of OJ Howard. But in my opinion, the Buffalo Bills aren't going to heavily utilize Howard when they already have Knox. That just wouldn't make too much sense to me, and I just don't think that's what's going to happen. We've seen Knox and Josh Allen, while they didn't have that great connection previously, they have 5G fucking LTE out on the gridiron, right? They have an excellent connection, and I really do believe in 2022, we are going to continue to see that. Some people will say, Nick, his numbers are carried by the touchdown total. And while that may be correct, I'm not going to argue that Dawson Knox is going to fall off and that Josh Allen's touchdown total is going to fall off. I mean, I've said fall off, plummet a million times, but you get what I'm saying. I just think that Josh Allen's going to have a pretty similar year. He's going to have a great year again. And I think Dawson Knox's value is pretty identical to what it would be without OJ Howard. So I still really do like Dawson Knox one time if you are with me. Next up, we move to a division rival of the Buffalo Bills, and that is Hunter Henry, tight end of the New England Deflatriots, tight end of the New England Patriots, if you don't want me to be mean here. Underdog ADP, tight end number 15. So going into 2021, there was definitely debate on which tight end is going to be better in New England, Nick. People would ask. A lot of people would ask. They'd ask because it's a great question. They signed Jonnu Smith. They signed Hunter Henry. Which one of these guys is going to be out there more? Which one's going to be the main target? Or is it going to be 50-50, 60-40? How are you kind of feeling on this situation? And my answer was, I believe, at least based upon what I remember, was that I wasn't bullish on either of them. I think, you know what, draft Hunter Henry in one league, and then diversify the revenue, draft Jonnu Smith in the other one, right? Fuck it. I mean, it doesn't seem like they paid both these guys so much money to where one of them would be infinitely on the field way more than the other one, right? That doesn't seem possible. Why would they have paid all this money to do that? And then you watch the games, you realize Jonnu Smith is not that guy. He's not the guy. Hunter Henry is the clear guy there. Now, Hunter Henry is not Rob fucking Gronkowski from a couple of years ago. He's not. It's not just because he's a tight end on the Patriots that he's going to become that, but he was a touchdown monster. He was tied with Dawson Knox for the second most touchdowns in the NFL at the tight end position. He had 9 total touchdowns. He played in 17 games in 2021, finishing as the tight end 9.5 PPR, tight end 12.5 PPR points per game. He had 75 targets, 4.4 per game, ranking 18th at tight end, 50 receptions, 2.9 per game, 17th, 603 receiving yards, 35.5 per game, 13th, and he had 9 total touchdowns, second at tight end, like I previously said. So, while this isn't this colossal season out of Hunter Henry, I don't expect Jonnu Smith to sneak up there and arise as this top-level threat for the Patriots. They bring in Devontae Parker from the Dolphins. I believe that was a third-round pick. Great for them. I mean, does that really have you shaking in your pants to draft Hunter Henry? No, not for me. I mean, Parker's fine, but that doesn't do anything for Hunter Henry. He's still going to be a red zone threat for Mac Jones. When Hunter Henry doesn't score, he is going to put up a very shitty performance. But if you guys remember back to last year, you hop in the time machine, there were a bunch of games in a row where this man scored a touchdown every single game. The Patriots are a team that they're not necessarily going to be the most pass-heavy team in the NFL, but Mac Jones likes to throw to the tight end. It's not like he's allergic to throwing it to the tight end. He really likes doing it in the red zone. And when they get into the red zone, it's never Jonnu Smith. It is always Hunter Henry. And unless something crazy was to happen and magically Jonnu Smith was to be inserted aggressively without the use of lube into this offense, then I'm going to continue to beat the drum for Hunter Henry. He's tight end 15 coming off the board. I don't expect him to be a top 5 tight end. I'm not saying that. But I do expect him to finish higher than tight end 15. And if he was to get a slight uptick in targets and Mac Jones is to get better and this offense is able to kind of flow a little bit better, now they trust now they trust Mac Jones a little bit more. They kind of take the bubble wrap off. They kind of unchain him. They unrestrict him in this offense, because that was something I pointed out a lot last year. It seemed like Mac Jones was just stuck in this system quarterback mold. Basically, they would send him out there, and the goal was just don't fuck anything up, Mac Jones. The defense is going to be fine. Our running attack's going to work. Everything is going to work for you. Just don't be an idiot. Just don't throw some stupid pick to ruin the game. As long as you go out there, we set you the correct tools. As long as you don't fuck it up, we're going to put you in a really good spot. And that's kind of how it was. And now, I think in 2022, we're going to see Mac Jones play a little bit stronger. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you Mac Jones is going to be a top 5 fantasy football quarterback, because doing that without an ounce, a semblance of rushing upside is damn near impossible. But what I am telling you is that Mac Jones is good enough to keep Hunter Henry fantasy relevant in 2022. Final tight end to talk about in today's video. But before we do that, please make sure that if you have ended up enjoying thus far, that you hit that subscribe button, you hit that like button, and you follow me on Twitter if you would like, @Notorious FNTSY. So final tight end to be breaking down in today's must-draft fantasy football, must-draft best ball tight ends video is going to be David NJOKU, tight end of the Cleveland Browns, underdog ADP, tight end number 17. 2021 stats, plays in 16 games. Not really 16 games because, you know, they have Austin Hooper. They have these other tight ends, but Austin Hooper's gone, so don't worry about Austin Hooper now. I just kind of wanted to bring that up. Tight end number 22.5 PPR, tight end 23.5 PPR points per game. On the season, he had 53 targets, 3.3 per game, 25th at tight end, 36 receptions, 2.3 per game, 24th, 475 receiving yards, 29.7 per game, 22nd, and 4 total touchdowns, ranking 12th at the tight end position. Now, again, the Browns team took took a dive like Michael Phelps last year, right? Again, I am definitely a little bit more confident in Baker Mayfield than most people are, but Baker definitely regressed last year. He was banged up, so you can definitely give him some excuses. Doesn't seem like most people are giving him even the benefit of the doubt. They're just off on Baker Mayfield. They think Baker Mayfield sucks donkey cock, and it is what it is. It is what it is, right? That's not the train I'm on. But I'm not trying to tell you that he's like the best quarterback in the NFL, but I'm telling you he's not dog shit, right? I'm just telling you that. But the team was definitely bad last year, right? They weren't what everyone thought. They weren't what they thought they were going to be. After coming off of a playoff win last year, or in 2020, I should say, the year prior to last year, that was definitely a disappointing season in 2021. But now they get rid of Baker, or they haven't got rid of Baker yet, but they basically X'd Baker out of the equation. They trade the King's ransom for Deshaun Watson. Now, the question here for David NJOKU and how bullish I'm going to truly be, because when you're in a best ball league, you can draft David NJOKU at 17, then just draft 2 other tight ends later, and then while Deshaun Watson is suspended, the computer's just going to pick out who the best scorer is out of the other guys. Maybe NJOKU's fine without Deshaun Watson, but the reason why I'm really excited about NJOKU is because of Deshaun Watson and because of the lack of weapons. They have 0 weapons. 0 weapons. They have fucking no one. Fairy dust. Literally no one there. Maybe Landry signs back, who knows, but Odell's not there. Obviously, traded him to the Rams. Landry seems like he's out. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, they have Amari Cooper, of course, so I guess that was kind of wrong, right? They do have Amari Cooper, so Nick, you fucking idiot. Why didn't you bring up Amari Cooper? I did. Amari Cooper's fine, but besides Amari Cooper, I should have brought up Amari Cooper. I probably sounded like an idiot. People are going to just exit out the video then, right? But that's just how this shit works without actually listening 20 more seconds to when I fix that. Amari Cooper, he's there. But besides Amari Cooper, who do they got? They've got Schwartz, Anthony Schwartz, I believe his name is. Come on. And now they got Deshaun Watson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The question still remains. How many games is he going to get suspended? It's going to be 4 games. It's going to be 6 games. It's going to be 8 games. It's going to be more than 8 games, maybe 9 games, because, the season's 17 games long. Maybe that changes how lengthy of a suspension he gets. That is still all up in the air. We have no idea what is happening for that. My assumption, though, is that he at least plays like half the season. And if that is the case, for at least half the season, David NJOKU, with the talent he has, I understand he hasn't put it all together. He has the Lego sheet. Like, he's got all the Lego pieces, I should say. He just doesn't know how to read the whole sheet, right? He's got part of it put together. It's just not all the way there, right? He's using his brain. But I think with Deshaun Watson there, then magically all of the directions are going to appear. Now, that was a kind of a weird explanation there, a weird analogy, but that's really how I see it. I think he has the skill set to do it. We just haven't seen him do it in the NFL level, and I think in 2022, that could be the year of David NJOKU. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. Again, if you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. I love you guys all so much. I hope you do have a great rest of your guys' day, and I hope that you check out Underdog Fantasy. Link down below in the video description. Also, you can just use the promo code Awesemo, 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 for a deposit match bonus if you're first time depositor for up to $100. Make sure you guys check it out. I love you guys from the deep down depths of my heart. Thank you guys for everything. I am so fucking excited for the NFL draft. I'm so excited for it to become July, August, when we can start banging out these videos, having a fantastic time. I love you guys so much, genuinely. Thank you for everything. I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, goodbye.